Hi everyone, it's Justine here from House of Mahalo. Hello, good to see you. So today I want to start figuring out how to put together the Tim Holtz ring-bound journal. So if you remember from the very first intro video, this is the cover that I've decided to use for the journal. It's a Gordon Benningfield book, Poems of the Countryside, and my thinking was it was sort of too wide as a journal this way for anything that I would make. So I thought we would flip it and have front and back this be our cover for the ring-bound journal. So as you can see, obviously we need to remove the spine. Now what I've just been looking at is I don't want to have this rough edge if I just cut the spine off. So what I want to do is cut it in such a way as to have some of the leftover fabric that sits on either side of the spine, have that where I can turn it over and then obviously cover the inside. So that's what we're going to work with first of all. I'm hoping it will work. So I'm just going to take my scissors and as straight as I can, I'm just following where the spine is. Hoping this will work. Never done it before, so let us see. So before I do the other one, I'll just double check. Yeah, perfect. So that gives us a bit of fabric that we can just roll over and glue down. I'm going to have book corners anyway, so I'm not worried if it looks a little bit unneat in the corners because we're going to put corner protectors on. But yeah, I think that will work enough. It's not perfect, you know, it's not like this, for example. It's not going to be as nice as that, but we could perhaps turn that upside down and have that be the bottom edge. Just seeing if there's anything I can figure out as to... I see. So the reason it will look different is because this has like bookboard on there. On this side, the bookboard is actually a bit further down. So if I cut this piece off, so this is part of the like the paper and the glue, and I think possibly part of, you know, the mesh where you get pieces stuck to your paper. So I think if I try ever so carefully to cut that off, basically we're taking the cover back down to the bookboard. Because I don't want to cut into the bookboard, so I'll just go slow. And then, yeah, I'm thinking we can then fold the fabric over and hopefully, fingers crossed, it will look the same as the other sides, or at least, you know, close enough. It doesn't have to be exact, because at the end of the day, we're upcycling something, so I'm not expecting perfection. Just seeing, I think I want to take that down a little bit more. It's just glued on there really, really well. You know, rightly so, as you would expect from a book. So just gonna come in a bit more, and I'm using my scissors for this because I just get a little bit more control than I do with a craft knife, because it's not just a case of us just taking the spine off. I obviously wanted it to be in the right place for us to be able to, yeah, fold over that that fabric, which if we just work it in a little bit, I'm thinking it will eventually work out to be just fine. Obviously we've got a little bit of a bulk here. So yeah, I mean, with this type of a project, it's just trial and error as to what you're going to do. Obviously I've gone with one idea and had to sort of change my mind a little bit with things, but for the most part this is working just fine. So and as I say, I'm covering all of this, so I'm not worried about it being a little bit unneat or anything, just as long as it's workable and we can cover up with corner protectors and what have you. Just as long as it's straight. That's the most important thing, I think, isn't it? A straight book cover, that's probably the must. So yeah, I'm just working that in as best I can. Sorry if I've got it a bit too close, I'm just pulling it up to me. And then that should be, you know, once we, if I mitered this a little bit, so I'm just going to come in a little bit. That just takes off some of the bulk so that we can turn the fabric over. Like that. Yeah, that's good. And then we'll have corner protectors. So there you are. So I basically ended up with maybe 3/4 centimetre thereabouts of fabric with which to turn over. So it can look just the same as that, or at least, you know, good enough for me. So we're going to do the same thing then. So I'm cutting right next to the, or as close as I can to the spine itself. And then I want to do the same thing. I just want to pull this glue as best I can so that I can then take some of that bulk away and really get down into where the book board is, the grey board. Oh, sorry, you cannot see anything I'm doing, can you? There we go. So again, just cutting as close to that board as I can without actually going into it, because obviously it's nice and straight for me right now, so I don't want to make it not straight. Okay, just get rid of some of the excess bits, and a little bit more there. So yeah, it may be easier with a craft knife, but for somebody like me who does not trust myself even with a pair of scissors, let alone a blade, I think this is just fine for me, because yeah, I'm not making like some, you know, ridiculously fancy book or anything. I'm making a junk journal, so I think that's one of the biggest things is, you know, some people put a lot of thought into binding journals and stuff, and I agree 100% that it is important, but at the end of the day it is a junk journal, so the less we focus on perfection the better, I think, personally, because it's just not needed in this craft. Just as long as it's well made and it lasts and you're happy with it, that's the important thing, isn't it? So again, just pushing that in so that it molds itself to where the book board is. Like that, and then that should give us a pretty good base. Now the trouble is, I say the trouble, the challenge is actually getting this glued down. I just got a little bit of excess there, so I just want to get that out of the way so it doesn't stick up funny. Okay, so yeah, we want to get the pieces of fabric glued down. I don't know if my tacky glue will be enough for it, because it's only a tacky glue, it's not art glitter or anything. So what I'm going to do is find some clips, which I've got a bag somewhere, just 2 secs. Got him. I thought these might help to hold things down, so let's go with this one first. I think this one will be ever so slightly easier. So I'm just going to come in with glue, quite a bit of glue, because all this will be covered, and I'm not worried about glue seepage in this case, just as long as it does stick. And then we're going to pull that taut over, just like if you were, you know, cover in a journal with fabric or something, you would pull it nice and taut, wouldn't you? Oops. And just mould that down. It's funny, it's like, yeah, these things, never done them before, but it's just a case of just thinking what will work and giving it a go, trying it, kind of thing. So I think that's actually stuck pretty well, all things considered, so I'm happy with that. And then, yeah, we're going to line the inside with some scrapbooking paper, which may need cutting down ever so slightly, because I think now my book cover is a little bit smaller than what I'd planned for. So it just wants cutting down a little bit, but the idea then is you get the border, the fabric border all the way around, including that edge at the top, which I'll probably make this the bottom edge so that it's a little bit less in your face, because it isn't like absolutely perfect compared to the rest. So if we have it this way, I think would work better, personally. Okay, so that's one, I'm happy with that. So let's get this other one to the same place. I think this one I cut a little bit in the wrong place, so it's a little bit less fabric than the other, but that's okay. Those clips are there if I need them. Oops. So yeah, this was just an idea in my head as to how we might be able to use the book cover, and well, I don't want to talk too soon, but I think it's working. So there are lots of ways we can use our old books in our journals and projects. And as I always say, we're giving them that new lease of life, which is important these days. So what I'll do is I'm just going to come along with some clips just to help that glue grab. And if I need to come in with more later, I can do that. Have I got more clips? So I'll probably just let this sit for a bit, because obviously I want it, you know, nicely glued down so it doesn't pop up or anything. And that is our two pieces of cover ready to go. So I'm pretty happy with that. So I'm going to pause just whilst I give that one a chance to glue down a bit better. And then I'm trying to think what the next stage would be, because I'm still not sure what I want on the cover, like some kind of topper or decoration. I'm just not sure. So what I was thinking of doing is almost getting the pages ready and in, so that I can see how everything fits together colours wise, and you know, all of that. And yeah, I think that might be easiest. So yeah, I'm gonna hit pause whilst I let that dry, and then we'll move on to the next step, whichever that will end up being. I think it will probably be that I would want to start getting the pages in. The tricky thing is that I want to line the inside of these covers, don't I? And I don't know whether I want a book plate on the front. Because obviously if I'm going to have a book plate, then I want to wait and do this part last, the scrapbook inner lining. So I'm just gonna, I'm gonna pause and think, and then we'll move on. But the main thing is that we've got the cover, like the book balls are ready now, and I'm happy with those. So yeah, so I'll hit pause and I'll be back in a moment, and we'll carry on with whatever the next step is. So I know what I'm doing with the cover now, and I'm not going to have a book plate on this one. We're going to do something different, but we'll do the decorating the cover on the next video. For now, I thought we would go ahead and start getting the pages in. So to start with, I'm going to be lining the 2 inner covers with this beautiful paper from the pad. And my glue has gone on strike again. There we go. So I'm just going to get those stuck in, because we might also be able to put some pockets down or something. Basically, we're just going to start making it into a book shape. There we go. Which is always the fun part, I think, when you actually start seeing it become the thing that you have in your head. Okay, so I want some of the border showing, so I have just cut these down a little bit. So I really, really like that. The colour of the cover just goes so nice, so nicely. And whilst I was doing that, I started having a think about what kind of story I'm trying to tell as well. So normally I have a really strong idea in my head before I even start making ephemera or journal pages or anything. I know what story I'm trying to tell. With this one, I didn't. Originally, I thought the story was just, it's a Tim Holtz journal. And while there's nothing wrong with that at all, for me, me being me, I needed to have, you know, some kind of story associated with it. And I've settled on, it's basically going to be the story of a young, elegant lady. And I want it to resemble if she were to have a scrapbook. So, you know, pictures of her beau and her family, letters from herself and, you know, to and from her and her husband or partner or what have you. That's kind of what I'm thinking of going for. And yeah, that's the story. Yeah, that's the story I want to tell with this project. But it's taken me ages to get there. I mean, we've done all the pages now, and all through making it, I just didn't know. I was just going with the idea that, you know, Tim Holtz was the right thing to do, and that was it, really. It's only until really actually getting it to this stage where it started coming together a little bit more. Okay, so that's those in. So let me, I'm just going to print out the pages, and I'm really hoping that my book rings fit. So I've got manila card that I've done 2 inches wide. I think I did about 9 inches tall for each strip, which is too tall for the pages. I will need to cut them down, but I thought best do that than cut them too short. And so when you fold them over in half, I will have 1 inch to go on each page. And I think I've spoken about this before, where the idea being, you know, it adds stability, it adds, you know, consistency through the journal, stuff like that. And to be honest, I think it just finishes off things a bit nicely as well. So, it's just a case of us doing that. So I'm not going to do them all on video, because that would probably be quite boring. But I will do some of them. Okay, so I'm using the beacon just because I trust it a little bit more. But I might need to decant this into another bottle because I've just seen that the lid is broken. Which is not handy because it means that I'm just going to get this absolutely everywhere. Okay, let's make sure we're getting it in the right place. So I'm pushing the papers right to the very end, just because I feel like, for me, I would just feel more comfortable with them being completely on the page. You know, no room for coming off kind of thing. Okay, I'm going to have to definitely go in with a different nozzle just to get the edges, but I'm just going to go in that sort of vein. And it's a little bit of pressure because this is kind of like we are committing to the page, aren't we? Right, let's see. Can I see what I'm doing? The answer is not really. Thinking I'm gonna try and put it through the guillotine, just because I do not trust my ability to cut a straight line. Okay, perfect. So we'll just do that. That'll be fine. Yeah. Can always trim up a bit neater where needed. Sorry about that. I just went off to go and decant that glue because the broken bottle was, yeah, not going to be beneficial. So, okay, let's move that to one side. And just, yeah, I'm going to keep going through. So this one, we're going to have it on this side. And yeah, I'm happy for that to go the whole way over. So let's do that. So yeah, as I say, I won't do all of these. Otherwise that will just be an entire video just for doing this. And I do want to get the book rings on. I'll do all of the eyelets off of screen. It'll just be me putting eyelets on. But I just wanted to show you sort of what this step looks like, I guess. Oops. For those of you who might be, you know, following along and such like. But yeah, I'll definitely have to go in with some extra glue in. And I'm still trying to decide whether I want this this edging to be plain or if it should be stenciled. Sorry, I'm just pulling that up because I noticed I'd put it in to put it in wonky. Let me just try that again because I really don't want that to be wonky. So yeah, I'm using the beacon, I'm not sure if I said, just because I trust it a little bit more than any other glue, whilst still having that wiggle room for when I inadvertently make some kind of mistake. That does happen. There we are. Okay, so we've still got the two nice pockets there. I didn't do all of these pages on screen because some of them were just really simple pages that I didn't think was worth a video. Like this one, it was just following a video that I saw someone do. Can't remember who this one was. It might have been Wendy's, what's her name? Is it like Wendy's Journal Adventure or something like that? I don't watch her channel often, but I do catch the odd video. So I think you get the idea. I think most of them are pretty much easy like that, you know, easy, she says. I'm just making sure that I don't forget where I'm having things or potentially having things. I'm just paper clipping things on for now, just because, you know, I don't want to commit to anything until I see it all together. But yeah, I think most of them are pretty much exactly the same like that. So I think I will continue on off screen, get the rest done. And then the ones that are a little bit more different, like the notebook and possibly the tag shaped one, I'll come back and do those with you so that you can see. But for now, I'm just going to go through and just get all of these on. So I will be right back. And I'm back. So I've got all of the page edges on. So I've got these two left, which I thought I would do again with you, just so that you could see what I was doing. So let's start with the tag one first. So if you remember from me making this, I made a little bit of a boo-boo where everything was going swimmingly until I came to do this part on the back, and I did it the wrong way round because all of my pocket spaces are on this side, the left-hand side, and that is where my page edge was supposed to go. And of course I could put it here, but then if I do that, I lose this pocket in the actual tag, and I also, you know, would have to do something with this, where I didn't do the pocket right up to the side. Now, if I had done the pocket the whole way across, I would have just put my page edge here, and then just forgotten the whole thing about the tag being a pocket. I wouldn't have minded that. But because I didn't do that, plan B, which is to put it on the side that it was supposed to be on, and possibly glue the back tuck down so that it's no longer anything, it's just decoration behind. And we just simply have this tuck pocket, the belly band, this one here, and the pocket, which is still plenty of tuck spots and pockets. I just feel like this would need something, so maybe like some flower decoration or some lace or something, but we can sort that when we come to embellish. That is my plan then. Okay. You can probably tell I was still trying to figure it all out. So this one, this page edge, I've cut down to, I think it's 7 inches, because I don't want it to be a weird shape or anything. So what I'm going to do with this one is put it from the bottom of the tag. You'll see what I mean. It's funny, I don't know why I try to explain things in words when I could just show you. So I think I wanted it there. So again, I'm just pushing the page edge right the way up. Yeah. Yeah, because where I have the tag side of things, I didn't want my page edge to look odd or anything. Like I didn't want it to be an odd shape or anything. I wanted to still keep the tag shape. I could have done the page edge the whole way up and had it cut into a tag shape, the actual page edge. But for me, I just felt like that might have looked a bit strange. I don't know. Maybe it wouldn't have done, but in my opinion, I didn't want to do that. Just hoping that it's straight. And then we could always put something here, just to cover up where the page edge ends. We could have like a cluster or something maybe, but we'll do that when we come to decorate. So I've just got a little slither to cut off here. Bit more than that, Justine. Okay, ink that up. Okay. I'm really liking having this guillotine for just little things like that. You know, it's so light, I can just get on to using it. So I don't think that looks too strange. As I say, I'm probably going to have something here as decoration, and then yeah, something up the side. And then I just need to decide on this side pocket whether to have it open anyway, because you can still get into it. providing the page edge is glued down as best it can, maybe I could. It depends where the eyelets are going to be, because obviously we're going to have the eyelets in the middle. So we'll have to see. But anyway, that's that ready to go. And then the next one I wanted to do was the notebook. So I've got 10 sheets of tea-dyed paper, and now you'll have to excuse me, I don't know if I've shown you this yet. This is just one of the sheets from the paper pad, and I have folded it so that it folds the other way, so it's going to be attached on this side to the rings, like so. So I basically folded the paper. Sorry about that. The smoke alarm started going off. Anyway, so yeah, I folded it so that there's a slight lip just here where my page edge can go, like so. And then the notebook is going to open this way instead of the traditional way. And I think that's how most people do it. Now I want to have a closure, and I want to use this pretty blush ribbon. And I've been umming and ahhing how best to attach it. There is a multitude of things I could have done. Cornelia Craft Designs, I really struggle to say that sometimes. She did it where she had her book rings and then she had an extra hole in the middle for the ribbon to come out of, which did look really nice. For me, I don't think I want that for this one. Other people have done, you know, like paper clip closures or some other thing, but I really want to use this ribbon. Me being me, I'm stubborn. So I'm thinking, can I attach the ribbon underneath here and hopefully have it be okay? So the only way to find out is to try. So let me let me fold the ribbon in half. That's what I want to do first. Okay, and then I'm going to tuck it around the side where the page edge is going to go, so that we've got the ribbon front and back like that. And then I'm going to just glue that in place first, and I'm going to put heaps of glue on, because you're not going to see this anyway, so if it seeps through the ribbon, it don't matter. So let me just do that. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. And I'm just going to pull that, you know, relatively tight along the side of the paper without getting my hands in a sticky gluey mess. Just to get that as flat as I can and stuck down as well as I can. Okay. Oops. Alrighty. And then we're going to put the page edge on, and cross your fingers that this works okay. I haven't put the pages into the cover yet, for the obvious reason of, if this doesn't work out, then I haven't really lost anything. You know, I haven't lost like an entire notebook that I spent time on, if you get my drift. Okay, and then let's slip that in, just like we've been doing. Giving that a really good press down. And it will be the moment of truth in a moment. There we go. But you know, with these things, sometimes you just got to try it, and if it doesn't work, I haven't lost anything. All I've lost is a little bit of time, and I would just have to cut this edge off and reuse the ribbon for something else and reuse the card for something else. But we don't know if we don't try. So those papers are going to go in like so. And then my idea was basically the ribbon kind of goes back on itself a little bit like that. So it's not ideal, not perfect, but you know what? I think it's worked. I'm just going to, you know, tie it up like I would if I was doing it in the journal, just to see what, you know, we don't want to put pressure on pages or anything. I think that's okay because it only goes back on itself like a tiny little bit. So what do you think? I think that's worked all right. Save having like an extra hole or some other weirdness going on. I think I'm okay with that. So I need to get in there with some extra glue just to get that really stuck down nice like that so that it doesn't sort of, you know. And then all I would say is whoever uses the notebook doesn't need to be like ridiculously careful, but just, you know, don't tug the ribbon too much is what I'll say, because yeah, you don't want like a great big bulging notebook because it wouldn't work, but just a little bit of writing space with some tea-dyed papers, that's fine, isn't it? So there we go, we have a notebook that just needs binding and then we're ready to put it in. I think that is all of the pages done. Let me just pop these things back in my pockets. I haven't completely settled on what I've got everywhere yet, but for the most part I have started putting things in just as like placeholders, mainly just to figure out how much bulk I actually had and to remind me where pockets and tuck spots and things were. That was the that was the biggest thing probably. Okay, put that behind there. Alrighty, so the next job is to get the holes in, isn't it? So let me, got stuff everywhere. It's because I'm clipping things in with the idea that I don't want to forget where I had stuff, because there is a order of things that I want to have. Okay, so I have 2-inch book rings. Now to me that looks like it should be fine. I think that will be okay. So the next job is to get the holes in. So I'm not going to do it all off screen on camera because that would just be a bit dull and repetitive, but I need to get the eyelets in. So my ideas for this was to take the smallest piece that I've got, which I think is this one, and the largest piece, which I think might be one of the, possibly this one. Okay, because what we want to do, or what I believe we want to do, as I say, this is my first time making one, is we want to have the holes for the rings so that they catch the smallest piece in the right place. You know, we don't want a hole up here or a hole up here, for example. We want them to be like this kind of thing. And then we'll use that to make a judgment on where the holes should be in the larger pieces. So let's just think about this then. If I were to have my holes here and here, I think that would be okay. So how best to do this? I'm just going to bring in my crocodile. Let me move that. I don't need that for now. I think, so I don't know what colour eyelets I'm using yet, but I know that I want the pages to use just bog standard eyelets, like so, because I didn't want it to eat into anything too much. I just want to see what it will look like. I'm showing you this just because I think it's important and helpful to see somebody's thought process as to what they're thinking. So if you imagine my book ring would be like this. Don't know whether to bring them in any, but no, I suppose we want them relatively spaced out. So I think that would be okay. The only thing that I will say is I probably want them to be sort of even. So if we bring in ever so slightly, I think that is where I would like them to be. The other question I have is, where do they need to be on the page edge? Are they supposed to be like close to the end like that? Are they supposed to be in the middle like that? Slash, does it matter? So I thought I would have a little look at Pinterest just to see what other people's eyelets looked like. And I think we want to be in far enough that we're going to have enough clearance on this side of the paper for strength. You know, you don't want any weak pages, but not so far in that we waste book rings, you know, being all the way over here kind of thing. So what I was just making is a template because, yeah, in terms of, I don't think I want to punch through my pages without some kind of template. So what I went with is I basically just placed my eyelets where I thought made sense. So I'm using the smallest page to help me understand where things need to be. Sorry, my lace needs extra glue in. And then I used my ruler and I just mapped out. So I've gone, there's the 1/4 inch mark, and I've done 2 points past that, and that is to be the middle of my hole. So it will be there as an eyelet. Okay. Oops, sorry, just knocking things over. And then I want to use this as the template. Now, if I put my piece in, find the middle of that hole, and then on a crocodile, you have this this piece that moves up and down. I've put that in the right place so that whenever I do my holes now, assuming I can see that middle mark, in theory, this should be exactly the same because of that piece on the thing that's helping us. So shall we see? So as I say, I'm doing this on a template so that I can see what it looks like with the eyelets in. And hopefully, if this one's straight, then I can use this one for all the other pages. Now, let's see. Yeah, I think that's right. I think they look level. So I'm pretty happy about that. Yeah, fab. Okay, so now I can use this template, I think, to put it along my pages and then punch where the same holes are. Or I won't punch it because that might affect my template. I'll put markings in. And then, as I say, if this is right, my thing always gets clogged up. It's just because it had a lot to go through, a lot of layers. I mean, you could absolutely do this by eye. It's just that I have, ooh, I think that just had a lot of layers. I have a pair of eyes where once I see like imperfections, I can't unsee them, and that's just from like years of being a perfectionist. it's not recommended at all, but I can't undo the past, so that's just who I am today. Anywho, so yeah, I preferred to measure just with something like this. And then obviously now that I've got that template in theory, all the other pages should be a lot easier to do. Yeah, okay, that is fine, hopefully. So that is the smallest page, and then the largest page, I don't know if it necessarily makes sense anymore. But basically we want our template to then be even top and bottom. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. I can't figure this template out. I can't figure out. I know that it needs to be the smallest page and the largest page so that everything is, you know, nicely lined up. But does that mean I need a separate template for my larger pages? Or can I get away with it just being by eye? I don't know. So all I can suggest that I do is keep using the template and just hope that it makes sense. Can but try, can't we? I mean, this is my first time making one, so I was just checking I didn't have anything to catch on the other side. And if we need to cut pages down, we need to cut pages down. I mean, it's not the end of the world, is it? So that is what I'm going to be doing. So if you imagine that then would line up there, and that would be how that would look if those pages were together in the book. So yeah, a very boring job, but it needs must. So I'm just going to go through like that then, and basically just, yeah, place my template where I think the holes should be, and hopefully fingers crossed that works. And then I need to do the same thing with the cover. So if I bring in the front cover, maybe then I would use the largest page, which is this one, to make sure that it's housed nicely in there. Would that make sense? Or do I use the same template? Yeah, I think that would be right. So you use the largest piece for the cover and use that as your template, and then you've got the small piece. Yeah, I think that will be fine. So yeah, I will use this large piece then to map out my covers, because that, looking at that, how that is, that's housed really nicely within the book, isn't it? So yeah, that makes sense. Okay, I think I figured it out. Sorry if it's a little bit confusing for you watching, but you know, at the end of the day, this is my first one and I am learning, and yeah, I think that is how I want to do. So in that case then, what I'm going to do is use these to go through, punch all my holes, get all of my eyelets in, including the covers. Now on the covers I'm going to use wide eyelets instead, but same process. And then yeah, in the next video then I should have all of the pages ready to go in terms of adding to the book rings, and then we can finally decorate up the cover, put it all into a book form, and then we will be able to fill pockets, do embellishments, etc. So I will leave it there for now. I hope the video was clear enough. As I say, I am learning. So I will leave it there, and on the next video you'll see all of the eyelets in, and we'll be ready to decorate up this cover, which I do have an idea for, and I'm very excited about it. So I hope you'll stay tuned for that. Until then, I will say goodbye for now.